X-Files Season 1, Episode 1 Recap. This pilot episode was filmed over 2 weeks in March of 1993 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and had a budget of $2 million. I wasn't thinking that because this was the pilot episode that there would be no theme song. So it was incredibly weird to rewatch this after a few years and not have that song at the beginning. The episode starts by saying the following story is inspired by actual documented accounts. However, this episode isn't based on one particular event, but is more of a patchwork of a bunch of different alien abduction stories. Not only is this episode our first time meeting Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, but it's their first time meeting each other. Mulder works for a part of the FBI called the X-Files, which deals with paranormal, supernatural, and unexplainable cases. His bosses assign Scully to be his partner on the X-Files and to report back to them directly in order to try to debunk Mulder's work. When they ask Scully if she knows anything about Mulder, she does know his entire history, and also that he has a reputation for being spooky. When Scully meets Mulder, he also knows her entire history, as well as the fact that she did her thesis on Einstein's twin paradox. The basic idea of this theory is that if you have two twins, and one of them goes into space, whenever they come back, the twin that went to space will be younger than the twin that is still on Earth. The two of them head to Northwest Oregon to work on an unsolved case about teenagers from a specific graduating class going missing and then ending up 86th. Some of the highlights of this episode include Mulder and Scully losing time in their car on a country road, the exhumation of one of the victims that has this nightmare inside the casket, Mulder telling Scully the story about how whenever he was a kid, his younger sister was abducted by aliens, and the introduction of the unknown metallic implant that is found in the nasal cavity of one of the victims. When they get back to DC, Scully meets with Mulder's bosses, and they basically try to gaslight her into thinking that everything has an explanation and that she didn't experience anything unusual. When they mention that she has no physical proof of anything that happened, she gives them the metal implant in like a fantastic FU moment. Later that night, Mulder calls Scully to tell her that when he calls the field office in Oregon to check on the case, that there are no records and no files and that nobody knows anything about it. This episode is still a 10 out of 10, still holds up since 1993, and can we just take a minute to appreciate the bi-dialectalism of Gillian Anderson? In real life, she was raised in America and England, so she has both a genuine, authentic American accent and a genuine, authentic British accent. When she's in American shows or doing American interviews, you will typically hear her have her American accent. And if you see her in British shows and interviews, you will typically hear her use her British accent. Let me know in the comments what season and episode you're on, and if you have any thoughts on this pilot episode.